Hi guys, Thomas and Friends 47 here, and today I want to give an introduction to the very first episode of Modeling Sodor. Now, if you'll remember, way back in, I believe it was June, I actually purchased, and John Luke TV guessed it right, that's where I was going, and the first episode was to get a building. And it was 12 feet by 32 feet. It was the perfect size. It was going to hold everything that I needed. It was going to be the dream train room, basically. And so I paid down on it. I saved up the money and I paid down on it. And I got everything. And then something came up and I ended up having to cancel the order. And that's where everything changed. And so I was trying to decide, was I going to take and try doing the series in my already small train room, or was I going to take and just wait, and try to get a building again in the spring? And so I decided to wait to the spring. And then all of you guys, all of my fellow YouTubers, my subscribers, people who I'm subscribed to, I've been seeing, they've been setting up train layouts, and you guys have been playing with trains. And that kind of reminded me of the whole reason you get into the hobby in the first place is to run trains. And I have not done that now in a good 6 months, and I was just like, you know what, no. So here's what we're going to do, and this is going to be my plan for the future, and you'll see this more in this video. I'm going to take and do Modeling Sodor. I am going to show you how to create a layout like I've done in the past, but this is going to be a smaller layout, and you'll see that in this video. It's a smaller layout. It's probably one of the smallest ones I've shown on YouTube, but I'm also going to be building a larger train layout. That'll be in the summertime, and I'll still show you progress on that. Next summer, 2020. But, right now, I want to show you how it's done, and I also want to build another layout. So this will be fun. This will give me something to do. It'll show you how I'm doing it, and I think it'll be really interesting. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this episode in the comments below. Thank you so much. Bye. Alfie! Alfie! Jack, what is it? Did you hear the news? What news? You know Matthew, the big guy who always wears a vest. Yeah, he's making a new series, Modeling Sodor. Oh, not this again. He's been saying that for months. But he's serious this time. And the time before that, and the time before that. Look, I'm sorry, but I just don't see it. But nothing. If he was serious, then where's the first episode? Tell me that, huh? My name is Thomas and Friends 47, and I've been making layouts for as long as I can remember. But you've only seen the end process. You watched my layout tours and reveals, but you didn't see how long it took, how much work and time was involved, or how much fun it is. You asked questions about how I did it, but it's been hard to explain. Until now. This is modeling railways step by step. This is Modeling Sodor. So here we are back at my train room. You notice it's a little bit packed right now. That's because the bins of track. You can also see the tables. Now I have 2 tables here, and these are cleaned off now, except for at the bottom where there's some earbuds for music and a lot of track. And you'll notice that I set my track up in order to know what I had. I had to put some track into storage, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough to do my layout. And those are all my straight tracks. My switches and curves are sorted. I also realized that the newer curves for the Trackmaster push-along sets don't work as good, so I tried to get as many of the older style curves as possible. Now that we know what track I have, let's get the supplies, including a glue gun, my glue sticks, and this is a really weird one, but cardboard. We are going to use cardboard as basically our canvas, and what that does is we're going to cover the entire table. Now, you notice I'm making a cut here. I'm using scissors, but those didn't work, so I ended up having to get a knife. Make sure to have appearance permission before using any sharp tools like that. It's also important that you cut away from yourself if you have a knife. I think make sure that you're cutting in the right direction, because if you go toward yourself, you can get hurt that way. So you notice that I turned the box. But anyway, what we're doing is we're putting this down on the table. I'm going to glue this down on my table, and that way when I get paint and everything on it, it's not going to go on my table, it's going to go on the cardboard. Now, it still can damage the table with the hot glue, but it's still not going to be covered in paint. And make sure before you do anything like this, like I said, ask your parents' permission, parent or guardian, because it can be trouble. Alright, now that we have this first section, we can start cutting the rest. Alright, now that my glue gun's heated up, I'm going to start laying down glue, and this is so that I can put the cardboard here and it'll stay in place. There's other techniques you can use nails or screws or staples, but personally I prefer the glue. The hot glue is nice because on the plastic it'll peel off, it'll still do a little bit of damage, but not much, and that makes it better if I want to reuse this table in the future. I'm welcome to. Now you notice that I'm pressing it down, and this is to make sure that it sticks, and I'm running my hands across it, but I don't keep it in one place for too long. The reason for that is because it is hot and it can get burned, so make sure to be careful with that. In the end, it looks a little bit weird because you have cardboard, but after paint and everything, you can't really tell a difference. It is important though that you make sure that it's a nice, smooth, and level surface. One thing about cardboard is that it will bow, so you want to make sure that it's as straight as possible, because when you paint it and you put in the glue and everything, it's going to make it bow outward, and there's me making sure that it's flush with the table. That way. In reality, they're not this close together to the windmill, but hey, you gotta make certain sacrifices on train layouts to make sure that you can get all the scenery in that you want to. And hopefully the way that I'm doing this, I can, if I want to film certain scenes, then I can just try to block that part out. I want to start doing like remakes and things, and episode remakes, crash remakes, that kind of thing on this layout, so that'll be cool. And I see those sections of track back there, and I like the long stretches of track. I don't know what it is, but it just looks really nice. Here, I looked at a picture of Croc's scrapyard, or Reg's scrapyard, and realized that there were some sidings there, so I'm taking and putting these switches in there. You'll notice that I give a half of rail, or half straight, in between the curve, and the reason for that is when engines come around the switches, it can be hard on the wheels, and it'll make them derail if they go directly from a switch to a curve. Trust me, I know from experience on that. I've had so many derailments because of this issue, and so I'm trying to steer away from that now. And yeah, so these switches as well, because they're the longer ones, the Trackmaster 2 engines don't do very well because the rails are really thin on the Trackmaster 2 tracks, which looks better, but it causes more derailments. So you gotta make sure that you're doing proper spacing when putting in switches. And there we go, that part's done. Let's move on to the next part of the layout. Now here in the curvature, this is where the Maithwaite station is going to be going, and you'll notice that I repositioned that rail there so it kind of goes off the table. But that's so that I can get the longer curve radius in that I need to get, and hopefully it's not giving me too much trouble so far. We'll see more about that in the first run at the end of this video. But right now, I'm just continuing to put the track down here. All in all, it's a pretty quick process. It's not too bad. It took me about maybe an hour, 30 minutes at the most to get everything, all the track down, once I knew what I wanted to do. Now this outer loop here that goes around ends up being only a half rail width, and that's because of how far away it is from the edge of the table, on the outside there toward the front of Maithwaite. This second loop actually uses the Trackmaster push-along curves, which I don't like very much. After studying them more and really getting a feel of them, I don't like them. They cause more train derailments, at least in my experiments, so I don't like to use them, but I ran out of the older curves, so I ended up having to use them here. It was either these or the smaller curves, and these are better than the smaller curves. So you can see there that there's a mini straight rather, between the curve there, and that will be changing once I find some more of the older style curves, so all of that will be gone. You also see I'm switching the back curve there with a switch, and that's so I can use that curve in the tunnel where the blue bowl is. Toward the back here, you'll notice how close it is to the wall, and this is where my hill is going to go. So I want to take and put a tunnel portal at each end of the openings to the tunnel, but I might have to move the track over, so that might be subject change, but only be like an inch or so. And you also notice there's not a cardboard on that area there, but I will put grass powder down, and we'll still get it painted, but I just didn't cover that little bit of area up. And that is it. That is all of the track that is currently down. this will be how the track plan is mainly going to be. Again, I'll switch out that switch there, but other than that, this is how it's going to look. And not bad, I should say, for the first episode. Now, on our first test run, we're going to test my Playrel Thomas that my friend Sidekick Jason got me for my birthday, and my Annie and Clarabelle that are a Bachmann to Trackmaster custom. So without further ado, let's see how they take these curves. Alrighty, and Thomas is off. See how nicely they go over the curves, and you'll notice that they lean inward a bit. I put a brace underneath the track to help with that. But see how they're not turning over, they're not getting too much force from those curves, and that's why I implemented this longer radius of curve to my trains. Starting to get some classic series vibes here, I'll tell you. Alright, and that is Thomas on his first loop run. Now, next we're going to test Thomas with the Bachmann 2 Trackmaster, Male Coach, and Toad. So I want to see how a Bachmann 2 Trackmaster bogey wheel car would do, and that's why I'm testing this here. So we'll see how he does. There's Toad. Hello, Toad. Alrighty. And you can see that the male car does great here, just as well as Bachmann, Annie, and Clarabelle did. And you can see a little bit of that swaying motion, which is normal. Very nice. I love the realism and the realistic look that the Bachmann cars have, and just seeing them behind Trackmaster locomotives is really fun. Alright, and next we're going to test the inner loop with Rebecca and her scrap train here in Paint and Brake Van. And she is off. Now she's much faster than the older Playrel style, which it surprised me for a moment when I started her up, because I was like, whoa, I've forgotten how fast these Trackmaster 2 engines are, which does have its ups and downs. But so far she's doing really great. She's enjoying this second loop, going by the windmill there. And all in all, I'm very proud of how she's doing on her first run. She did have a slight derailment. I didn't show that at that switch, but it's because of the speed of the engine going into the curve. That's also a switch. They just don't do well on. Now here I want to show what she looked like running on that inner loop as well. Still well, see, you can see the derailment there. But other than that, she did pretty well on it. And I want to say that only happened once on the switch, and then the second time was down there. So that only happened twice, which isn't good for any derailments, but, you know, considering Trackmaster 2, that's pretty good when it comes to switches. Alright guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. You know, I know it took me a while, and I'm so sorry. But I'm so excited to finally have episode 1 of Modeling Sodor out, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I know it's a long one, like I said, but this was fun to make, and I actually did this part of it in a day and a half, which was a crunch. I'm tired, I'm sleepy, but I am happy that I got this out so quickly. You know, it was hard to get everything rounded up. There was certainly a lot more behind the scenes work than just the layout, but other than that, like I said, I'm very proud of how it turned out. Guys, thank you for being such awesome fans. Thank you for commenting, and subscribing. I will see all you again very soon in my next reviews and the next episode of Modeling Sodor. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye. Woo, that was a big job. Not bad for a first episode. Please, all he did was put some cardboard and track down. We could have done the same. Foundations are important. Besides, Alfie, the next episode is going to be all about making hills and grass. Meh, whatever you say. Come on, Jack. Miss Jenny's waiting for us. I'm coming. Hold your horsepower.